Ages, also known as the Dark Ages, the bubonic plague made its debut in Europe. The Black Death invaded Europe between 1348 and 1350. The people were puzzled as to where this came from and how it was spread. They were all scared. They had no idea. It affected everyone, anyone from kings to paupers. I mean, it didn't matter who you were. The people turned to the church for answers and hopes. The original thoughts were that the Lord was punishing them for their sins and indiscretions. So the church suggested that they rid themselves of any bad influences to overcome and prevent the plague. People were unsure how the Black Death was spread, so they took precautionary measures to avoid becoming sick. Some people created small communities far away from the crowded cities. They isolated themselves so that maybe in the hopes that they wouldn't, if they were only with healthy people, that they wouldn't be struck down with the plague. So they developed these little small communities that contained only healthy people. They drank the best of wines, ate the best of foods, trying to dodge the disease. Others thought it was wise to intermingle with large crowds, thinking it would prevent them from catching the disease. The symptoms of the Black Plague are like none other that you will ever see. The symptoms are, one of the first symptoms is swelling of the armpits or around the groin area, varying in size anywhere from an egg to an apple. This unsightly big bulges underneath the arms and in the groin area that are very painful. After the swelling, a black spotty rash appears. Aches and fevers follow that, and then the delirium sets in. It says that by the time that the delirium sets in, they don't even know they're sick anymore. They're that out of it. Most people would die within 3 days of the first symptoms. That doesn't give you a whole lot of time from the time you contract the disease till you're gone. The bubonic plague killed more than 25 million people in Europe, wiping out 1/3 of the population. That's quite impressive. Hundreds of people died daily. With all the corpses piling up, the people had to find a way to bury them to prevent the spreading of the disease, because they didn't want, they wanted to get rid of it. Bodies were brought by the cartloads to the churches to be disposed of, but the church didn't have enough holy land to bury all the people. So then they had another issue. What were they going to do with all of these corpses and bodies that were piling up? Because 25 million people during over two years is a lot of bodies. With space being an issue, most people struck down with the plague were buried in mass trenches. Some were also burned. The bubonic plague comes from infected fleas or rats, spread by bites from the infected fleas or rats, as well as airborne spores. The rats would come off the boats, and that's how it spread from different places in different areas, and didn't just stay in the European area. Unsanitary conditions led to the mass spread of the disease in the 14th century. They had filth on their streets, their sewage was raw and running everywhere. The bubonic plague did bring about awareness of maintaining cleanliness in association with disease control. Now we know to wash our hands and to keep things clean, and it helps prevent the spread of diseases. Many people don't know that the song Ring Around the Rosies came from the Black Death. Ring Around the Rosies was the red rose that they would get around the black sores that they had. Pocket full of posies were the posies that the kids carried in their pockets to get rid of the stench, the smell of the death. Ashes to ashes comes from the burning of the bodies, the smell that they would always have, and then the falling down, how the people would die. They just would drop over with the plague. They didn't know who or when would die. In conclusion, the Black Death took a massive toll on the people of Europe. It was very devastating to those people during the medieval time.